One of the most poignant and well-documented instances of Allama Iqbal's profound love for the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, is reflected in a real-life event during the last years of his life. Event: Iqbal's tears in the Mosque of the Prophet, PBUH. It was in the early 1930s when Allama Iqbal made a pilgrimage to the holy cities of Mecca and Medina. This trip was a spiritual journey for Iqbal, as it allowed him to visit the sacred sites he had long written and spoken about with deep reverence. Iqbal's connection to the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was not just philosophical but deeply personal, and this visit would become one of the most profound experiences of his life. ####setting. The Masjid-e-Nabawi, the Prophet's Mosque, in Medina. It is a serene evening, and the mosque is filled with the soft murmur of prayers and the gentle sound of footsteps. The atmosphere is heavy with reverence and spirituality. ###Scene, the Prophet's Mosque. Allama Iqbal, now an elderly man and frail from years of illness, approaches the Rodi Rasul, the sacred resting place of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. His steps are slow, and his heart beats with a mixture of awe and love. As he nears the blessed tomb, his eyes fill with tears. Iqbal, whispering under his breath, his voice choked with emotion. Ya Rasul Allah, O Messenger of God, how many times have I longed for this moment, to stand before your resting place? How many nights have I spent in prayer, yearning for your intercession? His body trembles, not with weakness but with the overwhelming presence of the love he feels. Iqbal kneels before the sacred site, his face wet with tears. Despite his great intellect and towering legacy, he feels utterly small and humbled before the beloved of God. ###the silent tears. As he kneels, tears begin to fall freely from his eyes. He does not speak for a long time. His love for the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, which he had expressed through countless poems and writings, overflows in this moment. This is not the intellectual Iqbal, the philosopher, or the thinker. This is Iqbal, the humble servant, the lover of the Prophet, PBUH. Iqbal, in a broken voice, with his heart full of longing. I have spent my life in pursuit of truth, inspired by your example, O Messenger of God. But in this moment, I realize that all knowledge, all wisdom, is nothing without love for you. For Iqbal, the love of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, was the very foundation of his philosophy. He had often written that the strength of the Muslim Ummah lay not in worldly power but in its connection to the teachings and love of the Prophet, PBUH. Now, here he was, at the very heart of that love. ###the influence of the moment.